Stuff.
Got the targets.
Hey, and we're
Some
live.
AR 500 from
Yeah.
Got Steel.
Grizzly's sending me some shit.
Hey, don't let the fact that the chat went live interrupt your conversation.
Yeah.
Of course not. We wouldn't want to do that.
We never do.
Hey, welcome to Saturday Night Chat. Thanks for down 6 hosts tonight. Appreciate everybody else showing up.
Yeah, Edge, try to take credit for my Saturday night chat when you didn't even show up for your Friday night chat.
I was too busy getting shit faced. 4th of July.
It was the 4th of July, which is, you know, he had a sombrero on and some six shooters.
Yeah.
By the way, they gave away your Friday night chat spot. Just so you know, G-Lobs gave away your Friday night chat spot.
No, sorry. I got it.
But tonight's, back to being serious. On tonight's topic, it's the importance of training with your and being supplied to actually use. If you know my circumstance where I can't use my right wrist, I've got to use my left hand because I've got back carpal tunnel on my right. So I don't even have a holster for to carry my gun on my left side, and I'm too fat to do a reach around to try to get it all where I carry it on my right side.
Whoa! Did I just hear you got carpal tunnel from giving too many reach arounds?
Yes, it is.
That's what I heard.
That's exactly what I heard.
Yeah, I said I'm too fat to reach around and grab my gun with my left hand. So it's an important situation. And Yankee, the Yankee Marshal, for those that are listening that don't know, broke his finger on his right hand, so he could not do it. But he was better off than I was. At least he could carry, and I can't carry it until my holster
That's
comes
one
in.
of those bathhouses he's going to in Seattle.
Yeah.
Down on the ground.
How did he just do?
He's got a taser. Or a stun gun, anyway.
Oh, I was going to say, what kind of taser?
Just the first question out there, and it's hard to be on topic tonight, but the first question to everybody is, do you guys train with your offhand? And you guys can just answer as you see fit.
Are we talking about guns?
Yeah. I train with my offhand, and
This is chapped in the winter, so I'll switch it.
and that's there again. I never thought of it like the psychology behind it, but again, to reference Shooter's Mindset had Kyle Lamb on the other night, and he was talking about that, and he was 18 years with Delta Force, and he's a trainer, and he thought it was very important not to call it strong hand, weak hand. The psychology behind calling anything weak, I guess you could take that for what it is if you get behind the mental game in that. But he thinks that saying anything weak is, psychologically impairing the shooter.
That's why I call it your offhand.
Right. So that's exactly how he referenced it was offhand. And so yeah, I try to. I hate it. I mean, when I have matches where they have I just have it strong hand, weak hand shooting, and man, anytime I have to shoot with my left hand, I dread it because I know I suck with my left hand.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's something I did, but it was never something I did a whole lot of. I'm just like figuring. What would happen if I'm in a situation where my right hand gets injured because of debris or something like that, and I cannot use it to actually fire the gun? I'll just have to switch to my my left hand and do it from there. So I always at the end of the day would fire off a mag or two with my left hand. I never took it really seriously. Never thinking I'd be in the situation like I'm in tonight.
Well, no, I'm with you 100%, man. I mean, I'd shot guns for years and years, and never even fired a gun one-handed with my weak hand or my left hand, and I think it was during a qualifying or classifier or something that I was required to, and I can remember the first time putting that gun into my left hand was the most awkward, uncomfortable feeling, and you know, I'm a pretty good shooter, and I fucking missed the target with my left hand because I had no idea how to shoot left-handed. So it's definitely something you need to practice. Just don't think because you can shoot with your with your right hand or shoot freestyle that and you're a good shooter. It's a completely different animal when you switch to something that foreign.
What I've been doing lately is when I get bored of shooting the steel targets regular, I'll switch and do right hand, and then I'll shoot a mag left hand. So I'll do it normal, then another mag right-handed, single hand, and then left-handed. And you're absolutely right. As soon as you stick it in your weak hand, the muscle memory's not there. You know mentally how to do everything, but the muscles aren't trained to fire the gun in my case. So I'll aim, and if I squeeze the trigger real slow, I hit it and shoot it. But as soon as I start trying to fire regularly, I'm pulling the gun with my trigger finger. When I pull the trigger, I'm not keeping it straight.
Right.
Yeah. And I sure as hell can't draw with it. I mean, I can pick it up, point it, and aim it, and fire it, but I it totally.
It's awkward to draw with.
Yeah, really, yeah. I mean, I guess I pick guns up with my left hand, but it's just weird.
Yeah, I'm very, very jealous of ambidextrous people because trying to do anything with my left hand is incredibly difficult. Well, except for one thing, and I've already told you I practice with that all the time.
Wow. And the appropriateness of this chat has just taken a downturn.
Oh yeah, I mean even throwing a ball or throwing a punch even, it's amazing. You just don't have the same body mechanics and inertia. I mean I'm a pretty big dude. I work out, and I've trained, hand-to-hand stuff and had the opportunity to get one of those punch bag meters, and I can't remember the numbers, but we'll use some arbitrary number here. Let's say my right hand was 100 and my left hand was like 30. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It was just I never thought my left hand would be that weak when it comes to that.
You need to learn the sweet science, son. You got to learn how to box.
Well, that's the thing. Lifting weights, like I'm just as strong lifting with my left.
Yeah,
I can curl.
Yeah.
Right. And even curling, I can curl, a dumbbell the same weight with my right as I can with my left. But it's when you actually try to do something that requires a technique or mechanics behind it. I think that's where you lose out. Just straight up symmetry or strength is one thing, but when you have to, like I said, throw a ball or throw a punch,
slap a dog,
right? You just don't have that same.
See now, it depends on how you've been trained because with boxing and with also learning martial arts, I do have to say that I cannot punch quite with as much force with my left. But so many of the movements require alternating right to left and doing the same movements and stuff. So, like straight out hitting something as hard as I can, but actually just an actual fight, throwing right and lefts, they're about the same. Because most people aren't punching as hard as they can in a fight if they know how to fight. You know what I'm saying?
I go for the
they're not throwing haymakers if you're trained to fight.
All right, Dirk, go for it.
Thank you. I was trying to butt in, but like I said, you got to look at it even more so with guns. You got to look at it in your life in general as your whole life. If you're right or left-handed, whichever one, you've been doing that with whichever hand your whole life. So even trying to write with the opposite hand is so difficult because all your life you have that muscle memory like you guys were talking about in that hand, writing a certain way and never did it with your left hand, so trying to do it, you feel like, impossible. That's the thing, and I don't think that even starting now, you can ever get as good with your left hand as you are with your right hand, but, I mean, you can get pretty damn good, but it won't be your max. But I think you got to even do more than train with a firearm. You got to start doing things with your left hand. You know what I mean? So you might have to start writing with your left hand. You know, opening doors. Like I drive with my left hand a lot better than I do with my right hand. I'm right-handed. That's because of how I like to sit in the car, and I've been driving all my life with one hand with my left hand. You know, I think that.
Well, which hand's your pimp hand?
Well, you don't ride gangster style, do you? All laid back where you
Yeah.
hit, do you really?
Are you fully reclined or only at a 45?
45-degree angle.
I'm 6'3", so I have to lean my seat back when we'll be hanging out the roof of the car. But you know what I mean. So in order to get good at anything with that hand, you know, you got to start doing other stuff. If you're just training to shoot with that hand, it's gonna take a lot longer. But if you start doing other things with that hand also, you know, you'll get it more like your right hand, where you're just used to using it better.
It's really fine. It's fine motor skills. It's doing shooting guns and everything. It's really fine motor skills that you're doing, and that's what makes it hard. Now, I got the perfect example, and this is a real life scenario. There's this woman named Sarah Connor, and she got injured and she couldn't work their shotgun. She kept having to pump it with one hand.
Geez, here we go.
Her shoulder was hurt, see, because this Terminator stabbed her in the shoulder. She had to fire from the hip and then pump it with the other one. It was pretty badass, but anyway, yeah, she lost her fine motor control in her good hands. So.
Dirk, have you ever put out your pimp hand when you're slapping a hoe?
Yeah. Do you slap women with your offhand to protect your
Yes. Both at the same time, actually.
Yeah, I got a challenge. Anybody that makes toast in the morning, try doing everything with that toast left-handed. In other words, putting on the jam or putting on peanut butter, whatever you have on your toast. Try doing that with the left hand and see how well you do. But you get pretty frustrated pretty quickly. But if you keep doing it, like I've been now putting my peanut butter on the toast when I have toast in the morning with my left hand, and I'm getting better at it. It's not anywhere nearly as good as if I've used my right hand, but it's getting better. So Kirk does make a good point. Repetition helps.
I don't know what you're doing with your
awesome with both hands,
toast, but it should taste the same.
And those poor kitties.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I can't shoot that good with my left hand, but I guess I'm all right because I do shoot a lot with my left hand because
I can bust a nut.
Here's one for you, and I've seen this a couple times at the range. Is people who are cross dominant eye and hand.
That's
my son
me.
has that problem.
Yeah,
right eye dominant, but left-handed.
Yeah, I'm left eye dominant and right-handed, and that's
my problem.
But you don't.
Yeah, well, that brings up the next.
But you don't have a problem with that.
The next
shooting a
point,
handgun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't
not
have
a
problem
handgun. The
with that.
rifle.
Yeah, rifle is where you have the issue. You don't have the issue.
No,
with the
rifle
handgun.
was an issue at first, but then someone, basically I had to train myself. Like now I can close my left eye if I have to and use my right eye, but before I practice and train that muscle and that, I couldn't even close my left eye. Like I could only close my right eye to look out of my left. And
my girlfriend the same exact way.
Yeah, I just practice. I've held my hand over my eye and like, strain that. I mean, it took a while, but eventually I was able to learn or to be able to control that left eye muscle.
Yeah. Well,
Right, and
brings
just
up
hold on. Can I one second? I just know Stone guy. I want to get with you about that offline, off the chat on there. To should tell me how you did that so I can teach her.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Now I do want to say that I did want to bring this topic up too that you're talking about is, training with your off eye. That is also in this chat. I was going to talk about that. So since we're talking about that right now, let's go for it.
Well, let me throw this in there too. If you can, everybody needs to learn to shoot with both eyes open with a handgun, especially a handgun. That takes a lot practice as well to learn how to shoot with both eyes open. Now, if you have a longer shot and you want to be a little more precise, you know, it's not going to kill you obviously to close one eye, but for everyday, you know, general shooting, especially any defensive application, if you can learn to keep both of your eyes open while you shoot, you'd be amazed at how much more proficient and faster you'll be.
Oh yeah, I always shoot with both eyes open. When I look through a scope, I close my one eye. But
Right.
that's a different thing.
Try for anybody out there that's never tried that. Next time you go to the range, try just, you know, keeping both eyes open, and you'll find that front post. I mean, you'll naturally drift. You'll find yourself drifting. You'll either drift the gun or you'll turn your head to that dominant eye will pick it up, but you still have both eyes open, so your peripherals a lot larger. You know, you just and you don't have to concentrate as much on closing that eye and lining up that sight. You get a bigger focal plane to be able to acquire your targets. So that's a good drill for anybody. Try that.
Yeah, it's also important to train your off eye to be able to come in focus. You know, that's what I try to do when I'm shooting left-handed, is just use my left eye to look down those sights. And that's very difficult being right-eye dominant to do that. So I do still keep both my eyes open, but since I'm training just left-handed, I put my right hand in front of my eye, so I can't my right eye, so I can't see it. You know, so I put my hand up over the eye, and then I'm forced to look with my left eye, and that seems to help me in that situation. Oh,
have you ever sighted a pistol, like you look in the mirror and you have your right eye open and your left eye closed, and you'll see the sight, and you're all, you know, lined up. And then you close your right eye, open your left eye, and you're all fucking, you know, off. I've done that a couple times, and it's always weird. But I'm right eye dominant.
I've never done that before.
Yeah, and for anybody that's not sure, if you take your hands, put your hands out and make a triangle, you know, like cross your, like, see, well, you know what I'm talking about, like cross your thumbs, make a triangle.
You put your index and your thumb together and make a triangle.
You make a salute to Jay-Z.
Well, you know, I just put, you know, your palms flat, your four fingers crossing your other four fingers, and then your thumbs down at the bottom, and you make a triangle.
Yep.
And focus on something, and then slowly bring that triangle in, and it will naturally go to your dominant eye.
Hey,
so if you're not sure what you are,
I got a great idea, Stone Guy. Since I'm on camera, I'm gonna do it.
There you go.
So
yeah.
You take your hands like this, and you look here at your camera, and then when you bring them back, you're gonna be looking with your eye.
Yeah, there's another way.
If someone's looking at you and you're looking at them, they can just tell you what your eye is.
Illuminati is going crazy right now with this shit right now. Illuminati signs.
Yeah, there's another way you can do it too if you don't want to do that with your hands, because maybe you just want to hold that beer or smoke that cigarette, whatever it is. Just look up the you know, where the two walls meet the ceiling, that one corner, and just stare at that for a few seconds, and then close one of your eyes that you think is your dominant eye, and if your other eye is not looking at that point, that's your off eye. If it's looking at that point, it's your strong eye.
Well, that was way more confusing than the triangle, so thank you, Court.
It's not that difficult. So I do it all the time. It's like, I don't
know. I mean, the way you explained it was confusing too, but
yeah, that's
thank
true.
you.
Yeah, I didn't explain it very well, but that's because I'm on my beer. I'm having a couple beers tonight, so didn't have them last night.
Whoa.
All right, now
Let me sip here.
Going back to the offhand thing. Who here actually has supplies to carry on your offside?
I got all sorts of stuff that I can, holsters and other things I could carry. either side if I need to. In fact, there are times that I carry the pistol like on my offside, but it's just for cross draw. You know, just if I throw on my sneaky Pete or whatever. But I can pull it out with my left too.
But the gun will be pointing back.
I got mad skills.
I got pants and a belt. That's how if I wanted to carry on the other side, it works.
Well, you know, I've got an inside the waistband holster. I only have one holster. I'm not Yankee with millions of holsters. And so mine is, you know, right hand side only, unless I wanted to put it in my left hand and cross draw, which I can't do because I'm too fat to do that. So it does not work for me to carry it on my left hand side that way. I'm actually set up so that you could actually draw from your left side if you just had to use your left hand. Say, I'll give you a good example. Say that, you know, you walk into the mall and all of a sudden a bullet comes, hits your right arm, and now you've got a shattered, you know, bone in your arm. You cannot draw it from your, you know, your right side. And you think about that. Can you actually get to your gun with the other side? It's very difficult.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, and you should also train for something like that to where you can teach yourself how to do that. But my question is, since you can't use your right hand right now from your extreme fapping incident you had, how are you carrying at the moment? How are you carrying at the moment?
Sadly, I am not, because there's. You know, if I just had the gun in my holster, I'm just carrying around extra weight. I can't draw it with my wrist brace on, and unless the situation's really weird, where the bad guy's gonna give me time to get my wrist brace off.
So you're not carrying at all, like at all.
No.
So okay, so hold on. My question is this: why not at least still carry, just by the off chance that you may be able to get to it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could still carry it, and you know, if you really needed it.
Yeah, if you need it, you will get to it. But I think that I mean, are you training to even, since you don't have a holster, are you training or trying to figure out a way where you can get to that gun with your left hand?
Well, I've got a holster on order, and I should have it next week. So.
Well, okay, but
is your holster retention? Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just picking his brain. Yeah. Go ahead.
Right. So I'll have the, you know, it's been since I lost feeling in my right thumb, which I'm starting to get a little bit feeling back in my right thumb. I couldn't even pull my gun from my holster with my hand out of the brace. It felt like I wasn't gripping onto the gun, like I was going to drop it.
Okay, have you tried appendix carry? Because appendix carry, you gotta start running, Cork.
You could do colon carry too, Cork, if you're into that.
Well, I did think about, you know, throwing it behind my left butt cheek, but then I figured if I fall, I'd hurt my back.
Okay, wait. You got an arm brace on, right? Right, Cork?
Yeah.
And you got a lot of knives. I'm thinking you get some Wolverine action on that arm brace. Some spring-loaded stuff. Just whooshing.
There we go. If only that was legal here in Wisconsin.
Well, it's only illegal if you get caught, right?
Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
I know.
Yeah, I tried a few. Seriously, I did try a few other locations where I could get to the gun with my left hand. I just could not draw the gun comfortably and safely.
Well, this is my thing: is that you're pulling your gun because something is not safe anymore, and you need to defend yourself. Drawing that gun safely or not would be my last concern. But because I wanted to see what were you doing to try to overcome this, you know, until you get a setup to where you can draw with, you know, a left-handed holster or whatever, you know.
Just say that everywhere I've been going, I've been super paranoid. You know, without carrying, I'm rarely going anywhere, but when I do, it's like I'm super paranoid. Just that guy doesn't look 100% right, 99% right, but 100% not 100% right. So I'm like eagle. on a situation for a few seconds.
If you would have, man, you could have hired me for $150 an hour, and I could have been your bodyguard. I would have drove to Wisconsin. I'd have had like 3 guns.
No, thank you.
And I would have bought 2 hoodlums that's like pros at robbing gas stations. So you'd have been good, bro.
So, so like my main holsters, just 2 pieces of leather sewn together, that sort of holster where it just has the gun slide into it. And the benefit to having, I make those, the benefit to having that is because it's 2 pieces of leather with belt loops, you can just stick it on the other side and bend it the other direction and put your belt loops through it. It'll fold both ways, because it's a chunk of leather. So I mean, and then I got other holsters that are designed to where, to some degree, they can be kind of ambidextrous. The problem is if you get if you have a holster that's retention holster, well, now you can't draw it because you can't activate the retention device. That's a big problem.
But well, that's like a thumb brake thing.
Yeah, you could get it a thumb brake, I suppose, but not one of those like Blackhawk like switch holsters. You couldn't get at the holster. You had to pop it with your thumb, yank it out, and you just couldn't do a Blackhawk level 1 or level 2. Sorry, level 2 Blackhawk. It wouldn't work.
Well, what I was going to say...
you can carry without a holster on your left side.
Yeah, Mexican carry.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
With the hammer back.
Or hire a Mexican to carry.
Hold on. You'd rather not Mexican carry than not carry?
Cork shoots himself in the ass. That'd be an interesting news story.
Because I'm fat and I'm afraid the fat is going to go into the trigger guard and pull the trigger.
Dude, hold on, it's fat. Fat is...
Your fat is angry if it pulls
fat.
triggers.
It's not going into
Yep.
Oh my God, Cork. I mean, how about you get you some fucking duct tape, wrap that shit around the trigger guard, and carry your gun, man. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I saw
it's been weird this last week.
Hold on.
Preparation.
Hold on. I know the solution. There's this film with Lieutenant John McClane. He's a cop. He was on the Nakatomi Tower to tape a gun to his back with wrapping paper tape. Works great.
And Cork's going to be able to reach his back.
He wasn't a lieutenant.
I am fat. That's not going to happen. Just ask Edge.
And Cork has a Slumdog kid that comes and rubs his back for him. I'm down to 270, brother.
Yeah, the reason I bring this up, a lot of people in here prep. And
everybody poops.
Yeah, everybody preps. So I'm saying is, but how many actually prep to carry left-handed? Say you break your arm. You break your main arm, or you break a finger like Yankee did. That's why I'm bringing this whole chat up and this to be prepared for just in case that situation. It's not that much money to, buy a holster to carry left hand. Even if you never need it, at least you have.
No, you can do always inside the waistband, at your back.
Yeah, exactly. I have no problems carrying without a holster, and I prep not to break my arm.
Well, I think generally your backup gun, I'm thinking your primary firearm should definitely stay on your strong side, but your backup gun should be able to be accessed by either hand. So I'm with you on that one. If you need to train with a backup, to be able to reach either way.
Not everybody carries a backup gun.
But have any of you guys ever messed around with cross-drawing? I mean,
well,
I remember seeing the
you're
movies and
wishing you had a backup.
Cross-drawing, but in reality, cross-drawing, I don't know. Especially if you got a gut.
Okay, so one of the things that I've had to do in airsoft is when we go down to like Fort Hood to play in their mount facilities, which are basically just buildings without glass windows, giant big cinder block buildings that the military trains in, is there comes times when you're standing guard down 2 hallways and you're like, crap, I got to cover both hallways in case the guys come around either corner. So I carry 2 45s, 1911 style 45s, and I had to learn, because a lot of times when I had to draw my pistol, I had my rifle because I'm sitting there holding, at something, and I got to reach around with, holding a M4 and pull a pistol out with my offhand, and it's not easy, but you can learn how to do it if you practice. And the only problem I had is I would sit there with both guns like this down the hallways watching back and forth. But if they came around the left, I didn't have a chance of hitting them. But I could make them duck. I just start shooting around and get my right hand around and start going at it with both of them. But I never hit anyone on my left ever, but I can hit them with my right when they come around the corner.
Yeah. So you think about these situations where you cannot use your right hand for whatever reason. You weren't quite drunk enough when you fell down the stairs to completely relax. Cough, edge, cough.
I've never.
So you end up breaking
I've never fallen on the stairs. I've crawled up them a couple times.
I said fall down.
Yeah,
I thought when you're not quite drunk enough. It seems drunk people never get injured.
Yeah, that's
I rolled over my car 7 times and walked over there. So yeah, really.
It's a really important thing, and training I think is the most important part. And I think you should train equally. Now that I've done this, you should train equally with every time you go to the range. If you fire, 3 mags, your normal way, normal way you do it, then you should try three mags with your.
Dan, what are you clicking?
I'm not clicking anything.
I was gonna say once you learn how to somersault with the beer in your hand and not spill a drop, pretty much everything's all gravy.
Okay, well,
that's what I say. So you train 3 mags with your offhand, or like I can't remember, was it you, Nathan, that said you do a mag one-handed from each or something like that?
Well, okay, so the way I typically practice is I'll just sit there and I'll run through 4, 5, 6 mags hitting the steel plates, and then I'll get bored doing it that way. So then I'll shoot with my right hand by itself, and then I'll shoot with my left hand by itself. I'll do that a couple times just to practice and just to change things up. But it's really just kind of to train, because even shooting with just one hand, my primary hand just shooting one-handed without holding it with the other hand to steady it, that's not easy either.
It's hard for me to shoot accurately with my right hand without using my left to stabilize it.
Yeah, and I also bring this up. I was talking to somebody, I can't remember if it was live or not, but he actually, when I brought up this topic, he did a little search on it. He said that in situations, where you actually need to use your firearm, and I think he was actually talking about in war itself, that if that it's very important to train with your offhand, because most people end up getting hit on their strong hand.
Oh, that was whatchamacallit from the Dom Rosso from the
Yes.
Media Lab. Most of your injuries, when you're in a gunfight, are to the hands. People get shot in the hands during a gunfight more often than not. So.
Well, yeah, but I mean, okay, so you need to train standard both hands, so that's counting on the fact that most of the time you're healthy and functional with both body parts, but you also have to have the ability that if you were to get hit in the left arm to shoot with your right hand, or hit in the right hand to be able to shoot with your left. Now, are you going to be as good shooting with one hand, offhand or not? No, but you need to practice it to get where you're reasonably proficient, so that if you're down on the ground wounded, you can pick up the gun and shoot someone at point blank to defend yourself.
Or at least make that person think it's better off picking a different target to go after.
Well, yeah, I mean, and what we know about gunfights is, most of the time they're over extremely fast, and, a lot of times, it's, whoever draws first wins and that sort of thing. But, it's also the point of, I think it's almost more of a concern. I know you're in this situation now where you've got a arm down, but you're probably going to heal up and it's going to fix itself at some point, and you'll have that hand work again for years and years and years with no problem, more than likely. But
more than likely, but I'm not counting on it. I'm hopeful, but I'm not counting on it.
But thinking about it from the standpoint of, if I'm in a firefight, there's a decent likelihood that I could get hit in either arm or either shoulder or either hand. So I need to at least functionally at point blank range be able to operate the firearm all right. It's not you're not going to be speed shooting or at your best with only using one hand, but you need to know how to operate it with both hands. Yeah.
Yeah. And that means being able to operate everything on the gun with your offhand as well. Your mag release, your decocker, or cocking the hammer on I'm using this situation, cocking the hammer on mine to be able to get a little more accurate shot.
Yeah.
Well,
Or if
you got to be
had a
careful.
SIG, you wouldn't have to worry about that.
Yeah,
See-
you get a Glock, you don't have to worry about a hammer.
Yeah, I'm about to say you got to be careful with that because, different
Okay.
ranges, different rules, different things. But I really wouldn't be comfortable just using my left hand to load a mag and to cock it on my belt or whatever. I'd probably shoot myself in my buttocks if I attempted that. So,
Well,
Damn,
I'm
all
not
the
saying,
movie references tonight. You're on a
I'm
roll.
not saying that, but it may, be able to actuate the, to drop the mag and then be able to, like, I can do that. I can slam the mag with my strong hand, no problem. But it's actually getting set up to, be able to get that mag out of my pocket.
if I get shot in my primary arm and empty the gun with my left, I give up at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that point,
I'll probably be running and screaming away far before I run out of bullets.
But, we carry the gun for the worst case scenario. Everybody admits they don't want to shoot somebody. That's not something you go out there and say, oh, today I'm going to go out and shoot somebody. I'm looking for that. We go out there, it's our last option is to actually have to draw that firearm and pull the trigger.
Well,
whatever the situation may be, I know it's a rare chance we're even going to have to do that, but in that situation where you hit the bad guy lottery and you've got to use it and you got to change a mag, it's something you got to practice for. You got to practice for the worst situation. You don't just prep for a month of food. Most preppers prep for years of food. Most people, keep around in their house, near a month's worth of food anyway. You're not thinking about that situation. But if that did happen, now you're all set. Now what happens if you're in that situation, in that survival situation where, you do hurt your strong hand? You can't do anything with the pellet. Well, you still got to practice. Shit hits the fan.
So what you're saying is you think it's a wise idea to practice with both your arms, assuming one's injured, just to learn that motor skill.
Just to learn that motor skill, yes.
I agree.
It's worth the time and effort.
Yeah, and if you shoot enough like me at the range, it's also nice just to kind of, change things up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess most people, they go to the range and they throw 50 rounds down range and they do that twice a year. So they're probably not going to be into it. But if you're regular at the range, just like Stone Guy's always out there shooting, getting ready for competitions, he should, practice that to a certain extent.
Oh yeah, and I'm guilty of I don't practice it as much as I should because I suck, and so it's one of those things you really have to force yourself to do, and not worry about the accuracy. Not you got to go into it knowing that, hey, I'm not going to be as accurate. It's not going to be as comfortable shooting this way, but eventually, if you keep at it, you'll get better.
So if shooting with your offhand is like ab day at the gym, you're like,
yeah,
it's ab
exactly.
day. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, just because it's not as enjoyable to do it, you should still have to do it. It's like nobody enjoys paying their taxes, but you still do
it. Yeah, some people do.
It's like getting
married.
married.
I don't have a choice. working for the man, sending in my tax returns for me, bastards. W-2s.
Yeah. And until I had this issue, I never thought about it. And I'm sure a lot of people are out there just like me that didn't even think about it. Which sucks. It caught me ill prepared.
Yeah, I don't
Well, it's
practice
good
with
you
my
can
offhand
share
a
your
lot. But
experience.
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing this whole experience out, is to share it with people and keep them aware that this could happen.
I'm Mr. Cork 71, and I'm an internet gun guru, but I found out that when your right arm is injured, you have to shoot with your left, and I never knew that before. Thank you. This is a PSA.
Well, I
you
never
know.
expected it to happen. I've never broken a bone in my body except for toes. And that's because me being a clumsy idiot. And every time I sprain something, it's always on my left-hand side. So I've sprained my left-hand wrist, I've sprained my right-hand ankle, or right ankle, but that's a different story. I've always sprained something on my left side. For wrist, I've sprained that numerous times. So
I've broke my right hand twice, and both times it was while I was going through my training in the Army. And guess what? I still had to man up and shoot my rifle, and I still shot it with my right hand. I just extended my finger, wiggled it back and forth. And, you can overcome that, man. Take that wrist brace off. Like, squeeze one of those stress balls like 8,000 times, and carry your gun, man.
Man up.
yeah, it's
being a bitch.
not that. I'm under doctor orders not to use my wrist, and I go see the doctor again Monday because I ended up not completely following those rules. And because I didn't, I think at least now I'm starting to get feeling back. It's tingly now. It wasn't even tingly before. That
That's what she said.
I could face the worst case situation of not being able to use my right hand at all. I'd have to go in for surgery, and then I'd be, under that surgery, and that's like 6 to 8 weeks minimum of surgery, recovery time, and then, depending on how well physical therapy goes. But it could be 3 months, after surgery. And there's no guarantee that the surgery will take care of the problem 100%. And that I could re-injure it if I kept, using it extensively. In other words, gone out to the range and, overdid it. So this is what really got me thinking about the whole topic.
Well, how did you injure it in the first place? I mean, what caused it?
I think it was when I did a whole bunch of yard work and I had trimming back trees. This was right before Mother's Day. And, instead of going out and buying a chainsaw, I was using a machete and a hatchet to do the work.
I think it's from all that smashing tin cans and
no. I did all those videos back in end of January, start of February.
Yeah, it's a cumulative effect, though. It's Warhammer. It's Warhammer carpal tunnel.
Well, then I went out to the range on. Yeah. Then I went out to the range on Mother's Day, and my wrist wasn't feeling the greatest. But I'm like, yeah, it's Mother's Day, beautiful day here for a change. It was actually a nice day, and I put a whole bunch of rounds downrange.
What Cork has not told you is his mother is an old gypsy woman who hexed him for going to the range on Mother's Day and not spending it with her.
I won't even get into my mother. It's a very long, depressing story. But that did me in. I mean, that following week was agony. My hand hurt. It was numb all the time, but it also hurt. It was weird. And I saw the doctor, and he gave me the diagnosis: rest your wrist, don't use it, don't go to, don't do anything physically.
Did he put you into physical therapy of any type?
Yeah, he showed me some exercises to do with my wrist, which I did do, but not as thoroughly as I should, because my wrist started feeling better. And being a guy, well, my wrist is starting to feel better. I guess my wrist is better. And then I started doing
man, anytime I've ever gone to the doctor with a problem, I end up in physical therapy. They're like, oh,
that's just a fucking money-making scheme.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
it's just
exercise you could do at home.
The last time, so once I sprained my wrist hitting a Bob punching bag while I had been drinking back in my drinking days, and anyway, don't ever drink and work on a punching bag because you're bound to bend your hand wrong. But anyway, so they sent me to physical therapy for that, and then the last time was I got a repetitive motion injury in my shoulder, and that's great because then you go and you get an MRI and they look at it, and then you come out and they're like, gave me a cortisone shot in the back, which is awesome when it really hurts. But they're like, oh yeah, your shoulder's getting arthritis, you got bone spurs, and I'm like, I don't even know that.
What does that mean?
It means my shoulders are probably going to be effed soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was given a through thing. My doctor also is a hunter and a firearms enthusiast, so that was cool. He said no shooting, and I did go and drop a couple mags a couple times because got to stay a little bit on there and
got to stay frosty.
Help the situation. Yeah, it didn't help the situation. I didn't have a correct arm brace either, which wasn't the best thing. Now I do have the correct arm brace, and then it seems that the correct arm brace is helping.
It is actually really important to have the right braces on for the injury. It's nice to go down to your local drugstore and buy a cheapy brace, but the good ones really are worth the money, I found out.
Yep. That is true. So, now it's a situation. I see the doctor Monday because my thumb went completely numb. And he'll tell me what's going on. I'll tell him the feelings come back, and hopefully he'll say, well, come and see me, when the 3 months is up, and we'll diagnose you from there. But he could say I'm going to need to have surgery. He could, there's a whole bunch of different things he could say that I'm going to have to do.
10 to 1, they're gonna make you to get an MRI on it.
I hope not.
That's when they can't tell exactly what it is right off the bat, and they know it's not a broken bone. The MRI is the next step, buddy.
Yeah, well, they know all the situation. The doctor was like, we don't need to do anything because he knew it was carpal tunnel, just from the symptoms. And the tests that they had me do there, and it was carpal tunnel.
Well, carpal tunnel has gotten, compared to, like, my dad got it done 20 years ago, and back then, the technology's increased greatly to fix that.
Oh yeah, it's done greatly to fix it, but it's still the same surgery. It's just the way they do it now. It's different.
Right. They go about it differently. So it's kind of like, now they go in and they're less invasive, and they got better stuff to heal it faster and all that stuff. Of course, the problem is you still have the time delay of your nerves growing back 1 inch per month. So.
Well, I thought. Now, you're saying just from Mother's Day. I thought carpal tunnel was like years of repetitive shit. I didn't know.
No, it can be real quick.
No, it can. Mm-hmm. You can. Okay, so my dad, when he was a younger man, had a tennis racket that he was restringing, and he was pulling it tight with his wrist bent, and he popped a nerve in it, and he basically, in one. He did his wrist in by doing that one thing and jacked it up ever since. But, carpal tunnel, I mean, you can sit there with without an ergonomic keyboard and typing and stuff and jack your wrist up in a week or two.
Yeah, but you could actually go to sleep one night, sleep wrong on your side, and next morning you'll have carpal tunnel.
What? I would have to look at it exactly, but it's basically you do nerve damage or injure your wrist.
It's not just a wrist thing. The nerve actually runs from your it runs from right around the top part of your back, right near your neck, down your shoulder, all the way down your arm, and the nerve and supplies all the feeling to your thumb, your index finger, your middle finger, and half of your ring finger.
Yeah, it's not just a single thing.
Right. So that's all the one nerve provides all that feeling and everything. So if you cut off circulation there, and it damages the nerve, that's what takes the time back. But what I have is carpal tunnel from my wrist, That's actually a weakening of the passage this nerve passes through. But it's all considered carpal tunnel. It doesn't matter where you injure that nerve. It's all carpal tunnel.
So carpal tunnel is just an injury to a nerve?
Yes.
Yeah, it's damaging the nerve that goes to your hand.
I think it's a C5 vertebrae.
Wait. Now I'm really confused.
Well,
how
okay,
would you hurt your vertebrae if you're typing on a keyboard?
No, it's not from hurting.
But that's where it runs.
You have a nerve that goes from, like all nerves, goes from your spinal cord all the way down to the end of your fingers. And if you injure that nerve anywhere along that path, where your fingers don't work no more, or hurt or malfunction, then it's called carpal tunnel.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yes, it's got its name.
So it's a broad name. It's like if I said I broke my leg, it might be my femur, my tibia, my fibia, or my foot.
Yeah. The most common injury that's why it's called carpal tunnel, is to the carpal tunnel. It's a little tunnel the nerve passes through that's right in your wrist, right where your wrist and your forearm meet. It's a little tunnel that gets damaged, whether it's compressed or.
Now, see, I remember. I know your fingers are phalanges. What's your metacarpals? What are metacarpals? I remember that from some class I took in college.
No clue.
Metacarpals. That sounds familiar.
And I'm sorry for going so off topic here
maybe.
at the of the chat, but I want to just leave off. Yeah, since we're off topic tonight, I covered enough of what I want to talk about tonight. It's just
real quick. Here's my hand on the thing, and I can bend my hand all different ways, and the nerve goes right through the center, right above, like it's you can see the veins in your wrist. That nerve's above them, and if you do something like bend your arm wrong and then apply too much pressure, or you injure it some way, or hit it, or whomp it, or just repetitively use it to where you jack up that tunnel the nerve goes through, that's why they call it carpal tunnel, because they call it carpal tunnel syndrome because it's usually from a repetitive action that damages that section of your wrist.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. I'd always made the correlation of whenever someone said carpal tunnel, I was thinking it was a repetitive motion that was a cumulative effect over many years of doing the same thing.
Oh no, it does not take years and years. If it took years and years, that your wrist would be strengthened, and it would not happen. It weeks maybe of doing something wrong.
Yeah, and I will say this, Stone Guy, if you do sleep wrong on your side, like if you have your arm up, your shoulder up, and underneath your head, where it pinches down, it actually closes that.
That's how I sleep too.
Nerve. Yeah, you could actually injure your nerve that way too. So.
One time back in college, I tried to gnaw my own arm off to get away from the lady I woke up with the next morning.
I'm going to shut this chat down, but I want to thank everybody for coming out. And remember, folks, as a public service announcement, train with your offhand, because you can end up in a situation like I am where I did not train enough with my offhand. I did not have the holster to carry offhand with it. That was screwed. So be prepared, is what I just got to say. Thanks again, and night.
Have a good one.